And away we go.
All right, so how's your day?
Great.
Yeah, same here. Anyways, what's in the news? What's in the news for today?
Many, many things.
Many things. All right,
Oh,
let's
yes.
let's see what let's see. All right, so apparently, Pornhub will soon be shutting off in 13 different U.S. states. That includes Florida, Arkansas, Arkansas, Idaho, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Montana, Mississippi, Nebraska, North Carolina, Texas, and Virginia. I say that's really great news so far because honestly speaking, it's like well, I mean, it's not the entire United States, but for the most, I guess 13 states is a good start. It's definitely a good start to for the most part, Pornhub finally getting shut down. But then again, even if it does shut down in those states, there are still alternatives to the many other porn sites, including Twitter, because like Twitter refuses to just, you know, instantly just get rid of porn entirely. But, I say Pornhub no longer existing in 13 states or getting shut down in 13 states is a good start nonetheless. So I applaud the states for, moving past that. Definitely. I assume it's gonna start next year because this year is pretty much almost over. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, it's a good start, really. It's going to take a while for at least to be implemented at the federal level, but it's a good start. A couple states, maybe, possibly, the word gets out and other nations will do the same at some point.
Yeah, honestly, same. Honestly, same. I hope that other states and well, frankly, I wish the whole country would just ban porn entirely. But that's a good start for nonetheless. Banning porn, banning Pornhub or shutting it down in 13 states. That's definitely good. New York wasn't on that list, unfortunately, but it's a good start. It's a good start. But as long as there's still access to porn, people will find a way to watch it anyway. So, it's not a complete win, but it's a win nonetheless, still, for the people who only know Pornhub and don't go on other alternative websites that pretty much have the same videos, but it is what it is at the end of the day. It's a good start, definitely. Also, I've heard in the news that Trump was trying to purchase Greenland or something like that.
Yes, my gosh, here we go again.
Yeah. So pretty much, I guess Trump is trying to make Greenland the or Greenland, no Greenland, the
Greenland, yeah.
yeah, the 51st state of the United States of America. That's what I'm hearing. He's trying to make it.
Yeah.
He's trying to make it another. He's trying to make Greenland part of the United States. And I don't know if he's gonna be successful in purchasing Greenland, but we know, we got to just see what happens next. In the coming months of his presidency, see if he can actually get it done. And if he can get it done, well, frankly, I won't even know how I feel. I won't really know how to feel about that because, well, I'm pretty sure they have resources that we need and that we can use entirely to strengthen our country and strengthen everything strengthen everything in our country in general. But for the most part, you know, it all comes down to Trump being able to secure Greenland as a 51st state or Canada, because I'm pretty sure he's also interested in Canada as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I will say that negotiations to purchase Greenland is definitely out of the question because Denmark boosts Greenland defense after Trump repeats desire to take Greenland as to be the 35th.
oh, what'd you say?
I said negotiations for the US to get Greenland would be out of the question because Denmark is boosting Greenland's defense in response to that. So I don't think Denmark is wanting to give Greenland up for whatever reason.
Hmm. I'll be honest. It's not really odd. I mean, I get it though. It's you don't want to give up your your country that easily. So I honestly get that. And yeah, I mean, I get. But I'll be honest, I might not agree with everything that Trump does, but if I believe that he can definitely get it done if he wanted to. I do believe that he knows which strings to pull to get it done. So if he wants it, he'll get it. And so pretty much I believe that Trump can get it done if he wanted to. But hey, let's see what happens in 2025. Maybe they'll change their minds. Maybe they'll give up Greenland for something. Trump's gonna have to give them something because at the end of the day, I know they're just not gonna give it up like that.
No, no, of course not.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get something out of it, whether it's money or whether if it's anything. But hey, if anyone can do it, Trump can.
Oh, yes.
Don't know what he has. I don't know what he has to give up. I don't know what he has to trade, but he'll get it done if he wants to. But if he can't get it done by any chance, there's always Canada. There's always other places. There's always other places really that he can make part of the United States. But hey, we're just gonna see what happens next, and we're just gonna see where the cards fall from there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Yeah. So is there anything else in the news?
Yep. A couple days ago, it was announced that Ukraine and Moldova just entered the European Union.
Really?
Yeah, they have.
Oh wow, that's great. Oh wow, that's great. Is
I
it?
guess, yeah.
Is it? Is it really?
I'm not saying it's bad, but
It's
what good comes out of getting a nation that's currently, allegedly as of now, in the middle of a war against a military powerhouse?
mm,
Why? Why we get into those negotiations now?
yeah. Honestly, I don't really know why would they get into those negotiations just now. I mean, shouldn't it have happened any earlier than that? Before?
Yeah, like, well, I understand there's lots of dedication for the people of Ukraine and Moldova to be part of the EU, but look, it's too much. I feel there's some kind of gain coming out of this. Like, I feel Ukraine is becoming a bit of a pawn in global politics. And I don't have anything against Ukraine or the Ukrainians, but I am concerned about how people will play with Ukraine in terms of negotiating whatever terms big nations want to negotiate.
Yeah, I can honestly see what you mean by that. I mean, to be fair, it's like Ukraine is just becoming like a political pawn. You know, like I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, has Ukraine ever been talked about this much before? Like
Well, not recently, but
up
a
until
couple of years ago, around 2022, when it was announced Russia and Ukraine are going at war at each other, uh, there hasn't been any extensive, consistent headlines regarding Ukraine ever since.
and I guess that's true. Um, yeah, I guess that's true, but still, it's like I seem to hear seem to hear them in the news more and more though. But that was 2022. Time's passed by that
Y
quickly, huh?
yes, it was yeah, it was like over 2 years ago,
Wow.
nearly 3 years ago, since Russia and Ukraine were at war with each other and sending its troops to go fight.
It really doesn't feel like almost 3 years ago. It feels like this happened like a year. It feels like
It feels like a couple months ago, or maybe a year ago.
yeah.
But yeah, but it's 2 years, over 2 years, but nearly 3 years actually
You know what I
since it happened.
you know what I found out? You know what I found out?
What?
This is unrelated, but the PS5 came out 5 years ago. I'm like, really? I thought it came out like last year or something.
I would never think the PS5 would have been released last year, but
It does.
I never think it'd be 5 years ago.
I wouldn't have never thought it would have been 5 years ago either. I thought it was like 1 or 2 years ago. Dang,
Yeah, time flies by so fast.
it does. It's like years ago feels like yesterday. It's like what? I'll be honest. What is?
The illusion of time is speeding amongst us.
I mean, yeah, I don't really understand that, but man, time is just flying by. I didn't even know, like, yeah, because it's like back to the Ukraine thing. It's like when you talk about that, it doesn't feel like it's been like 2 years ago. It just feels like it's been a couple months.
Yeah, it feels like something just recently happened in the last in this year or the last year.
Yeah, but then again, it's like I guess that's how I guess that's how things are when you're when you're older. So things that feel like that happened yesterday actually happened years ago. And I'm like, dang. It's like imagine, like I'll be honest. Imagine, like you have a kid and they're like immediately like 5 years old, and it's like, dang. Feels like it literally feels like yesterday that I just had this kid, but now he's like 5, and then he's getting older. He's getting older, and it's like, dang. It would literally feel like yesterday that like this kid that you had was like 1 years old, and then now they're all grown up and on their own. Time really does fly by quickly.
It sure does.
Yeah, but in other news,
Have you heard of Spotify's secret program?
no, I haven't. What is it?
It's called Perfect Fit Content.
Perfect what content?
Perfect Fit, FIT.
Oh, perfect fit content. Huh. Is it like a workout thing or
Oh no, it's not even close, mate. It's how do I put it? Simply but also sweetly. It's money laundering.
Oh wow.
Like, like literally, Spotify themselves would create different artist accounts, which aren't individual people, but that makes it look like they're individual people. But yet they're somehow tied to Spotify, and it all ties back. All of these artist accounts that's somehow generated by Spotify, they all trace back to Sweden, which is the country where Spotify is found. And the reason why it's so controversial hearing about this is because having these artist profiles, like having generating music and having tons of streams and plays going back to the songs by these somewhat generated artists going over and over and over again, it's taking attention away from the artists of the real world in real life.
Wait. So
So
Spotify
go on.
is making generated artists and they're making money off of it.
Yes, they're essentially paying themselves having streams and plays over and over again to the songs by these generated artists
Oh, that is
that are allegedly connected to Spotify,
oh that
which
is
is one of the reasons why many artists that we know today aren't getting paid as much. Because most of the monetization is going to those generated artists created by Spotify themselves
wait, hold on.
as a way for them to not pay the fair share to the in real life artists.
Oh, that is just sad. Bro, you're paying yourself to make music. Is the music at least good?
Well, I wouldn't know because we don't know who these artists are. That's the thing.
Oh,
You can find them and you'll be fortunate to know what these generated artists are, but
wait, do they have
in general, unless you're very dedicated to expose the lies that goes on in corporations such as Spotify, you're not going to know which are the names of these generated artists.
I wonder, do they make a social media page for these artists too?
No,
Oh,
I don't think they would, because the point of social media in general, traditionally, is to bring attention, is a way to attract an audience. With these generated artists on Spotify, they don't want people to know. They don't want to bring attention to these generated artists, because if they did that, people would have caught on quick. They would have been called out sooner, and they would just stop with they would stop the operation. They would stop the perfect fit content program, and they would not be in the trajectory of generating the revenue they're generating now.
mm, got you. So I wonder, are their plays like botted, or are they just mixed in with real people, or like what's going on here?
Well, people would say they're botted, but the thing is, Spotify has a moderation system that if streams were botted, those songs would be taken down.
Mm,
The thing, most of the streams, well, I'm not saying they're real people, but they're certainly not artificially generated. These streams are garnered by presumably the same artists' accounts. So just like how Spotify is allegedly paying themselves, they're also using their own resources and naturally generate the streams that their generated artists are getting.
Okay. Okay. I think I understand. I think I understand now, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's just kind of so. In order to avoid just paying a lot of artists, you pay yourself. That's what I'm hearing. They just pay themselves.
Yeah, they just don't want to pay the artists, like genuine artists.
What's the point of even going on Spotify then?
I don't know, man.
I just don't see. I'll be honest. If I found that out as an artist, I don't get me wrong. I'd probably still drop songs on Spotify just to get something out of it. But I'd probably be trying to find somewhere else where I would be appreciated for my hard work and my music. Because Spotify clearly doesn't appreciate these artists enough in what they do. I mean, yeah, but you can interpret it in many ways. At the end of the day, it's like, what are you really gonna do? I mean, I guess as long as they're fine with it, it's whatever. But I mean, it's like you said. It's like I said. Well, what are you really gonna do about it? There's not really much you can do unless that just all catches up that to them. But other than that, I don't think it's really gonna catch up to them anytime soon. So I mean, but I think someone will be lurking and trying to expose exactly what Spotify is doing, and they probably already have. Who knows? Like probably like as this is recording, someone is exposing Spotify for what they're doing, which is essentially paying themselves. It's like, bro, you're giving a paycheck to a fake like account, and then you're giving the money back to your company.
Yeah.
I'll be honest though. Do podcasters get affected by this too? Like the biggest podcasters.
Nah, this is this is not a concern for the podcasting realm of Spotify. This is only for music artists.
Got you. Okay. So pretty much the music artists is like just suffer. And speaking of music artists, I mean, speaking of like the music industry, I'm not gonna lie. In a couple years, will they? I wonder. Will they try to replace like real mainstream artists like for like these fake digital artists who probably make good music, but who probably make good music? Are they gonna try?
That's already a thing to begin with. Like
Uh,
a couple of years ago,
oh, well, that's sad. But I'm pretty.
but they're not mainstream yet. That's the thing. So
Yeah, that's
they're a thing, but they're not getting enough attention like the artists that we know today.
well, that's good. Well, that's good. I mean, but they're probably going to eventually get the attention. Yeah, but it's only a matter of time. And I'll be honest. Yeah, I mean, they should like have a backup plan though. These artists, but yeah. But anyways, in other news, two two homosexuals, and that's what the thing says. I'm not calling them that.
They actually said that.
No, it's like no, it's like it's on a post that I sent. Yeah, it's on a post that I sent, but like just
Yeah.
let me just say their names: William and Zachary Zulok, who pleaded guilty to sexually abusing two adopted young boys, sentenced to 100 years in prison.
Wow.
Yeah, and a lot of people, and yeah, a lot of people are online saying that like yeah, or let me actually no, this is a better way of like putting it. Gay couple who showed off picture perfect family gets 100 years in prison for horrific rape of adopted sons. Or R word. Sorry, that's just what it says. Anyways, yeah, people are in an uproar about it, like rightfully so, because it's like they really just adopted two young boys just to like sexually abuse them, and that shit, that is absolutely wrong. to see. That's terrible. And
It's awful, yeah.
yeah, it's I just hope those young boys are okay. And yeah, those guys deserve. I'll be honest, they deserve more years. They deserve more years. People are saying they deserve the death penalty, and well, not that I'm going to wish death on anybody, but I wouldn't. I don't blame. I don't blame them for I don't blame people for wanting the death penalty for any of them for these two guys.
They're going to have to pay the price at some point.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're definitely gonna have to pay the price at some point, and they will pay the price, and they will definitely pay the price. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah, no, they're gonna pay the price. Either someone is going to end up killing them in prison, or they're just gonna end up getting the death penalty if possible. And people are saying stop allowing gay people to adopt, and once again, I understand why. Not saying it's all of them, but I'm saying I understand the frustration. So yeah, it's pretty much I say I somewhat agree. And if you're going to continue to do that, but I will say this: if you're going to continue to do this in a society, then you got to look deeper into into these people though. You got to look deep into everyone you come across really, and see if if they have any skeletons in their closet, and just when it comes to giving kids away to someone, you got to look deeper. You gotta pretty much vet them, make sure that they're not child abusers, they're not they don't have any ulterior motives to sexually abuse anybody. But yeah, it's you just gotta look deeper, and I really just hope these children are okay. I'm glad these monsters are in prison. I am I'm glad the kids are safe. But
Yes, me too.
in other news,
The most illegal holiday pastime.
what the most
Yeah, so every year in the Swedish town of Gävle, yes, that's how they say Gävle, but it's start with a G, but it makes a Y sound because Swedish, that's the language.
okay?
Anyway, in the town of Gävle, every year the the town puts up a statue made of straw, and all of a sudden, the townspeople and all of Sweden have to decide to burn it down. And out of the 59 times it was put up, it survived 18 times throughout the entire month of December. One ran their car into it. One year, it was burned down after 6 hours being put up. One guy tried to fly it over back to Stockholm. One year, a guy to its back to his back got kept it in his back garden, and another year there was a couple of bird seeds on top of the goat straw sculpture. The birds ate the seeds on top of it, and somehow the goat statue just collapsed all of a sudden, disintegrated. But yeah, it's an ongoing tradition for nearly over 60 years. They try to burn down the goat sculpture made of straw. And the thing is, this is not legal. The townspeople, in fact, the councillors of Yavle are doing everything they can to prevent people from burning it down. They put up fences, security cameras. They even get the Swedish military involved, like a couple militants just guarding the goat sculpture. And there's like a 24/7 live stream on the Yavle tourism website, so that way, if someone does try to burn it down, they'll be caught in the act, and that person, well, I presume they would be arrested for trying to burn it down.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. For real. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
yeah, but I mean, can't it really can't get any crazier than that? And for the most part, it's yeah. I mean, I would assume that if someone would try to burn it down, they would get arrested because I mean, hey, I mean, it's clearly of importance. So I mean, yeah, I would assume that someone would get arrested for it unless they just get they just got a warning, be oh, don't try to burn this again, otherwise you will get serious consequences. But hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. I mean, and I hope no one tries to burn it, or and it just stays safe at the end of
Yeah, so true.
yeah, yeah. And let's see what else in the news.
British Latino Muslims. Wow. Who would have thought?
We're at that point now, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it was like last year when I first discovered that British Latinos were a thing, and it was interesting to hear someone that was born and raised in Britain, yet have ancestry tracing back to somewhere in South America, and they speak Spanish. They actually sound genuinely Latino. Like I'm aware, I understand it makes sense, but put the two together, that's a new experience. But now hearing about British Latino Muslims, wow, that is quite the rarity.
I'm not gonna lie. That is a bit weird. British Latino Muslims. You're not only British, but you're Latino and you're a Muslim. Wow.
Hmm. Yes.
I really don't know what to think about that. Like, it started you said it started last year, you said?
Yeah, last year I was shocked to hear that British Latinos were a thing. That was a shock to me, but now hearing about British Latino Muslims, that's another shock.
Yeah.
Then that leads to another question. Are there Muslims in South America?
Hmm. That's a good question. Is there Muslims in South America? There probably are. I'm gonna be honest.
But there's not as much as in the US.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't assume there's that much like there, but like as in the US, but for the most part, I'd say like yeah, there probably is like there probably is. And wow, British Latino Muslims. That doesn't I'm gonna be honest with you, that almost doesn't really sound right. Sounds weird. I'm not saying it sounds wrong. I'm saying it sounds a bit weird to say. British Latino Muslims. It's like it sounds like a. I mean, it is a completely new concept, but it's like so
It's like it's like you took a word of an identity group and just merged it to make one.
right. Exactly. It's like it's like you took two things and you made it one. Hmm. It. I do wonder. It's like do these like people convert to Islam, or like were they born Muslim, or like what happened? What happened there? It's like I
Hmm.
yeah. So that's really what I'm wondering.
All right. So according to the person that posted the video, British Latino Muslims are now a thing. Ecuadorian migrates to UK social housing slums, falls into Robert Dingy Rapids roadman culture. Wagwan Famalan you mans on a bear haram ting now. You mans need to run ops with Allah bruv for real fam. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I just said that. The Pakistanis and the Malis take Ecuadorian down Masjid. He converts. Actually existing civic nationalism, especially as Robert Dingy Rapids roadman culture continues to grow, you are going to get loads of susceptible groups like British Latinos swept up in or one-shotted by it because it is such a dominant force in the Malayos they live in. That is because it is more lowest common denominator, more assertive and high energy because it isn't limited to specific culture and ethnic groups by its nature. It is in these ways a far better template to integrate into than the historical British culture. You may actually even see lots of white British, or these days half-white British, youths, quotations, integrate into it too.
Hmm. Wow. That's actually very interesting to hear. Yes, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. A part of me does see, like when I read something like this, a part of me does see why, like people would want to keep it like in their keep like their like keep their like culture, strictly their culture. Whether if it's keeping it in their race or anything like that. It's like it doesn't create anything new. It's just like the old way. It's just like the old ways of living, but at the same time, it's like I still think it doesn't matter because people are ultimately gonna be people, and they're gonna meet who they want to meet. But I'm just gonna say that I hope this doesn't lead to anything bad, which I don't see how it could. But at the end of the day, once again, what are we really gonna do? I mean, it's just that I'm not gonna lie. This is a relatively new concept, and for the most part, I think like will get used to it. We're just gonna see how this goes, and we're just gonna see how this ends up. Yeah. So
Also, do you know how many mosques there are in like in the Americas in general, including Caribbean?
in the Americas, no, I do not. I've seen some mosques, but I don't know how many there are.
I'm talking about the Americas as a whole plus the Caribbean.
Oh yeah, no, I don't.
There's about 47 in total,
In the Americas as a whole,
and the Caribbean.
huh? I'll be honest, it's a lot, but it's not. I was expecting more. I'm gonna be honest. I was expecting way more.
Yeah, I was expecting more in North America.
Honestly,
But I didn't expect this many in the Americas in general.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that's a good. I mean, like that's well, there really shouldn't be mosques here, but it's not that bad of a number. I mean, it's not bad. I honestly was expecting you to say like 100 or 200 or something like that. I was really expecting you to say something, but
Yeah, I thought so too.
yeah, honestly, that's not much. I mean, like we can easily take that down, or just like we can easily just like that. That's like that's a good number. We don't need any. But if we're gonna keep the mosques, that's a good number. We don't need any more. We don't need any more built because that's not what America is. But you know, it is what it is. But in other news, in Germany, you're not allowed to use a weapon to defend yourself. So they have self-defense classes where they teach people how to use towels.
Towels.
Yes, towels.
Towels.
This is a disarmed society.
It's so stupid.
Germany.
What are you doing, man?
Yeah. Several pieces of ink. Well, wait, hold on. There's a community note.
Yes. What does it say?
Okay. Several pieces of incorrect misinformation. The video does not show a generally applicable course for everyone. It is specifically tailored to hospital staff only. And two, self defense is also permitted with weapons in Germany. Oh, wow.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay.
That's a relief. I
Yeah.
thought I thought I thought that was real for a second, but no, that okay. There are weapons in Germany for
Okay.
self-defense, and okay, yeah. Glad we got that cleared up.
Yeah, honestly, me too. Because I'm not gonna lie, that would have been sad, extremely sad.
Yeah. Imagine if that was actually a thing. There's actually a self-defense class. You have to use towels to defend yourself.
I'm not gonna lie. Imagine if they did that in Britain. It's like they took away the knives, and it's like you have to use towels now.
Oh, goodness me.
I mean, it would be safer, but they'd probably find a way to kill. They.
But yeah, but it's just stupid.
Yeah, I know.
What use would you have a towel to defend yourself?
And plus, I'm pretty sure no one would want to carry a towel everywhere.
Exactly.
I mean, if it rained, then yeah, sure, it'd be something to use, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Like someone's wrote, but under the comment, white people aren't allowed to have weapons. Muslims carry machetes in the street. It's an irrelevant comment, but apparently it's been like limited. It's a limited post and yada yada. But anyways, yeah, it's like nah. Towels would have just been embarrassing. That is hilarious. That would be hilarious, but also sad.
Yeah.
And a woman I followed, she says gayest thing I've ever seen. And it kind of is, but
Yeah. I can't argue with that.
yeah, it is. Well, it's a good thing that information is false information, but I thought it was real.
Yeah.
But in other news, I'll be
Other news.
I'll be honest. I'm pretty sure earlier I sent in a video with RFK that had something to do with RFK, but it's no longer in the chat. I'm not either.
I don't. I saw a message you say, wait, what happened? Question mark. I thought I sent a video screen recording in the chat, and then you post something about Elon and Trump worship Saturn.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that. Yeah, no, it wasn't that. It was something else.
Yeah, I know. Now I know it's about RFK, but why didn't it got sent in the chat?
Either I didn't send it, or either I didn't send it, or it did get sent. It's just that, huh? Hold on.
Well, the only defense to Discord is actually there is a limit on how much data of whatever you want to send can be sent. The maximum is 10 megabytes.
Got you.
Well, when I send stuff in the chat, I
Oh,
go to CapCut and then I just trim all the settings such as resolution and frame rates all the way down, so that way the amount of data of the videos that I'm about to send to the chat is below 10 megabytes, so it gets through. Or I could just split into 2 or 3 parts.
okay. Yeah, okay. It just gave me the message now about the 10 megabytes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah, but pretty much did send the video where it's it says Elon and Trump worship Saturn. Because it's there was this guy who was giving proof that Elon worships Saturn because he changed a logo to something with Saturn, pretty much. This proof just this just honestly proves more that Elon and Trump aren't the heroes that most people see them as. And apparently there's gonna be a new golden age in America, and I'm like, yeah, it's like, all right, it's like Trump actually might do some good things, but for the most part I don't really trust Trump. I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't trust Trump. I mean, if I was extremely secular and I was forced to compromise, I would probably vote for Trump. But you know because from the outside looking in, compared to him and Kamala, he seems like the best option. He definitely did seem like the best option. But you know, I mean, this election was both entertaining and disappointing at the same time. And I say entertaining because, well, I mean, the stuff that we got from Trump and Kamala, it was funny. But it was disappointing because they were the ones who were being talked about the most. It's like, I don't know, man. It's like, I want to see someone else who doesn't have that big of a following. I would personally like to see an underdog try to go up against Trump or Kamala, or just try to run for president in general. I would love to see someone like that. I really would. I think that would be great to see a person who probably doesn't have the biggest following, but maybe they can get a chance to get that big following by being shown on television to debate why, to tell the people, the American people, why they would be a great president. I would love to see that, but we're never really gonna see that. It's like we always said, it's a pretty much the presidency is a popularity contest. Um, but you have to be at least a little bit well known to even get in that popularity contest, or I don't know, be completely compromised by the Democratic or Republican Party. And what some people would even say be compromised by Israel, but I'm just gonna keep it at Democratic and Republican Party because it starts there. Then I guess if it makes you feel better to say Israel, then fine. But maybe it is Israel. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's yeah. I guess in order to make it, you have to pretty much be compromised to an extent, or I don't know, just do what they tell you to do, so that you can kind of make it there. For instance, Trump had to do it. Trump had to do it. He had to compromise himself, and yeah, because people said Trump was a rebel back then. Yeah, he was actually for the people, but now it's he's probably he puts up this front, but I don't think Trump is for the people anymore. He's not He's not the same guy he was before. I think Trump is a bit more scared now. He can put on this tough guy front, but I think Trump is a bit more scared on what would happen to him. So it's the sad reality of it all. You can't really trust these guys. I don't trust them. And frankly, every Republican are probably going to be disappointed with Trump to some extent, unless they're just brainwashed bots who adhere to like whatever political party that they're associated. But that's just me, and it is what it is.
Yeah, and it was what it was.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like people have their own ideologies. People have their own way of interpreting things, and it can either be right or it can either be wrong. And all right, sorry, I was reading something. Anyways, yeah,
All right,
they can either be right or they can either be wrong. But in other news, horrific
grocery tax.
grocery tax.
Yes, grocery tax.
What about it?
I'm just gonna play the video, and you just, if you know, you know.
Well, they've kept this one very quiet. A new grocery tax will be in force from the 1st of January next week, 2025. And we're all going to be fucking paying for it. This scheme will charge retailers and manufacturers based on their packaging materials and usage. It has quietly been passed into legislation as part of the UK's waste reduction and net zero strategy. Bollocks. Government is expecting an average of 85% of these costs to be passed on to the consumers. This also means that some places it will be 100% of the fucking cost. And here's the mad thing, Rishi Sunak and his government thought of this idea and created it, but then scrapped it because they deemed it too expensive to implement to the general public and businesses. Dozy old fucking Rodney here has stole the idea, revamped it, and implemented it into law all within fucking 6 months. But this is just all the start, isn't it? They don't want us eating certain products, meat products, dairy products. That's a video for another fucking day.
I'm not gonna lie. Before you played the video, I just remembered what the grocery tax was, and I'm like,
Yeah,
really? Grocery?
yeah. Like, I get that people are outraged about the grocery tax. Like, people will be paying more to get their food on the table. But what's the need to have a tax on groceries?
I,
Don't we already pay? Don't we already pay enough to live anyway
I mean,
to
yeah,
get the what we need?
yeah. I mean, we already pay enough money for groceries, man. Why are you taxing us this? I mean, like, bro, it's like you can already get. I'm not gonna lie, it's not like the early 2000s or like the 90s, man. You can't just buy a lot of food nowadays and just like be good for be like good for like probably a couple weeks to potentially a month. It's like and now if food wasn't expensive enough, they're taxing us for it. I really don't get that. I mean, like, what's the point of taxing us for it? I mean, like, it's not even that we're getting. No one is getting more poor. Things are just getting more expensive. That's the problem. I mean, it's just dumb. It's just really dumb. I
It
mean,
is, yeah.
I'll be honest. What is the most logical reason why there should be a grocery tax on anything?
Well, the best they should come up with is whatever taxation on groceries is generated is then going towards benefiting the supermarkets in some way. But what benefit would that be? That we do not know. They don't know themselves either until they actually say what it is. However, otherwise, you can't just introduce new forms of taxation without saying where that money from that taxation will go towards that will somehow, to at least some extent, be some benefit to the industries in question.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I would assume a better excuse would be like, oh, we're gonna tax you guys on your groceries so that we can put it towards the country and whatnot. That's still not a good excuse, but it's a decent excuse nonetheless. Which we know that they'd be lying about, but it's still something. Definitely.
It's better to do something and nothing at all.
That's true. It is. The grocery tax is just dumb. I mean, like, we already pay enough for groceries. We already. I mean, like, there are people who are like pretty much struggling to get groceries enough as it is. Yeah, and you're gonna make it hard on them. You're gonna make it more hard on them by putting a tax on it. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Outrageous.
Preposterous.
Scallywags.
Bamboozle.
Baba Booey.
Okay.
We just say random words that makes no sense.
Yeah, that we do. But in other news, I have a question.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. I realized I hear about the dark web, dark web, dark web, dark web. Is the dark web pretty much just something on the regular web? It's just on like the deep ends of the web where nobody just moderates it and whatever.
Well, you're right about the no moderations part. The dark web is a completely different playing field to the regular mainstream web. Like, you might have to get a completely new browsing web browser to access what is essentially the dark web.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, that's what I was wondering. Also, it's like is it on like? Because I was wondering if it was on Google, if it was on anything like that, or do you have to like?
Oh no, 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 no. If it was on Google, that would be known as the dark web, wouldn't it?
That's true. That.
Like if it was allowed by major corporations, that is not the dark web.
Mm,
Essentially, what the dark web is in general is what is a place, what is a plane of the internet that no organization, business would ever allow to ever happen, or nor would they allow such actions or services to ever to be enacted ever.
huh. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That actually makes a whole lot more sense now. Because yeah, it's like I've always been hearing about the dark web, and I was just wondering if it was a part of the mainstream web. It's just that it was just unmoderated in the mainstream web. But it definitely does make sense if you have to download a completely different browser to enter the dark web.
Yes, well, that's at least one step of it. The next step is having some kind of software to prevent yourself being tracked by the government.
Oh.
Because that's another thing. I did say the dark web is something that companies and organizations of a business won't allow people to be on or use such advantages or such things that goes against them. It's also a place that the government would really keep an eye out on. If you do use something from the dark web, they will stop you at whatever chance they can get. Because the moment you do something on the dark web, it feels like, in my opinion, is that it's having an advantage over many people around the world. Mostly.
Mm. I assume most of those guys use a VPN or something.
Yes. But again, a VPN is not enough to prevent yourself being tracked by governments and other organizations for security. There's more complicated software that needs to be put in place.
That's
But
true.
VPN is certainly not enough. It can change your IP address, but isn't going to make you completely undetectable.
That's actually a good point. That is a good point. And I asked that because it's like, in the news that we have today, like, that was posted by, like, hold on. That was posted by Illuminati bot. It's regarding Hillary Clinton. Hold on. Horrific Hillary Clinton snuff film circulating on dark web. An extreme snuff film featuring Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin doing very inappropriate acts to a person, to a little girl, and that's all I'm gonna say. Because it's like I'm like, like, because I was just one because I was ultimately wondering is like, where is the dark, like, what exactly, like, that pretty much what, like, kind of like you know that's pretty much where I got the, like, what, like, where I was thinking, like, what exactly is the dark web, because it's like I thought it was just on the regular web, on the regular, like, web browser. It's just that for somehow and some reason it was just unmoderated. But yeah, you made a good point. It wouldn't be on there if, like, it wouldn't be on there at all if it was, like, monetized and whatnot. Like, if it, like, pretty much it would have been like packed up and gone. And, like, corporations on their web browser, because, well, it would affect their business. That, and,
Yeah,
well, it would make them look bad. So, they wouldn't allow that.
absolutely.
Yeah, but is there anything else in the news?
Yes, there is. Amsterdam court convicts 5 for violent attacks on Israeli football fans.
Violent attack on 5 Israeli football fans. Football fans, you said?
Amsterdam court convicts 5 for violent attacks on Israeli football fans.
Ah, got you. All right. So, huh. I wonder what they were getting like. What's with the violent attacks? Is it because they were, like, Israeli, or, like, what's happening there?
Well, I know there's more to the story than just what they identify as, but
There has to be.
and I haven't looked into the story as a whole. But one thing's for sure. Honestly, I'm not too sure. But whatever caused the violence to happen, it's just getting old. It has to stop.
Honestly, yeah.
I had enough of the violence and the division amongst people groups. And yes, I understand there are people in such people groups have done terrible things, but that doesn't reflect that people group as a whole.
Honestly, I'm over it too. I mean, I get it. It's like, look, you're upset, but it's like, really, it's like, are you really gonna be mad at a whole group for, like, what a, like, specific handful of people in that who identify in that group does? It's like, are you really gonna be mad at, like, every person in that who identifies in that group for, like, what a selective few powerful people do? Like, that's my question. I mean, yeah, you're right. It is getting a bit old. I mean, when it first started, I'm like, it's like it was something. It was something, but it's like, now it's like, okay, we get it. It's like, look, you hate these people. It's like, now at first it was like, okay, you're telling the truth. Now it's just, okay. It's like, bro, you're just there should be more to the story, though. Other than that,
Yeah.
there really
Although the reason why there were Israelis in Amsterdam, it's regarding. Well, of course, they said it was football soccer fans. So I think it was an Israeli team, Maccabi Tel Aviv. They were playing to another club from the Netherlands called Ajax, which is spelled Ajax. So Maccabi Tel Aviv, the football club, they were playing at Ajax's stadium, and I think during the time when before, during, and or after the match just happened for UEFA Champions League, I think it was at that point the violence ignited because they're from Israel, so presumably they thought they were Jewish because Israel is a predominantly Jewish country. But of course, not all Israelis are Jewish. There could be some that are Muslim if they're not within the borders of, whether or not they're within the borders of Palestine. And there are actually a few Israelis that could be Christian. But of course, knowing that most Israelis are Jewish, maybe just seeing the fact there is someone, presumably looks Jewish, and the events that have been going on in Gaza for who knows how many months, that's where the violence ignited. And again, I said, I get the frustration. However, it has to stop. It really has to stop.
honestly, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it honestly just has to stop. It's not only getting old, but it's tiring. Like, just hearing that, it's like people are saying, like, it was always them, but in all actuality, it's not even them. They probably don't even know what's going on. It's definitely someone, but it's not them. It's like, at this point, it's like, who cares? I mean, it's like, what can you really do about it other than talk? Nothing. So unless you're willing to die for this, man, it's like I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Although I can't say this would be worth dying for. I mean, I would say like if you went out like John McAfee, then sure, yeah, I say it's worth. It's probably worth dying for. But the difference between everybody else today spewing this and John McAfee is that he actually had receipts. Like, and Isaac Cappy, he had receipts. It's like these guys experienced this stuff. These guys have been working in this field for years, and they've experienced this stuff. It's like with the people online, however, they just spew whatever comes out of their mouths that aren't that's in the mainstream media. That's on Twitter/X, and they just run with it without even doing a hint of research on whatever they're complaining about. Then you have the people who the racial people where it's like they have extreme pride in their race, and it's like, yeah, okay, cool, but who cares? Like, honestly, this goes for anybody, really. It's like, who cares? What's that gonna do for me? And I guess this is the same thing with this. It's like, what exactly is them being Israeli going to do for me? Nothing. And they gonna do it a dang thing. Who cares? But is there anything else in the news?
Chinese workers found in, quote, slavery-like conditions at BYD construction site in Brazil.
Wow. That I'm not gonna lie, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that man. What did they call the police? Like, was there any charges involved?
Well, Brazilian authorities have stopped the construction of a factory for Chinese electric vehicle giant BYD due to workers living in conditions compared to slavery. More than 160 workers have been rescued in Bahia, as reported by the Public Labour Prosecutor's Office. The MPT stated that the situation also constitutes, quote, forced labour, with many workers facing withheld wages and excess contract termination costs. Labour Inspector Leanne Daraus reported that at least 107 workers had their passports withheld and described the worksite conditions as dangerous.
Wow, that is definitely something. I do hope that those people who are in terrible conditions do get their justice that they deserve, and whatever money they potentially get in the future as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's like I just hope that they do get justice, and I'm hoping that everything goes their way. Cause yeah, it's like when you're in slave conditions, it's like, yeah, of course something is gonna happen. Of course something is gonna happen eventually, but ultimately speaking, it's like ultimately speaking, it's like, I don't know. It's like, did they choose to be there, or I'm just wondering, did they choose to be there, or were they forced to be there?
Well, I can't say they were forced to be there because, well, they were already there to begin with and had some kind of determination to be there. However, they weren't aware that the conditions was as bad as they thought they were going to be, and after acknowledging the conditions, that's when they said, okay, no, we're not putting up with this. We're reporting this to the higher authorities immediately.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they did that too. They definitely contacted the highest authorities as possible, and yeah, once again, I'm glad that they're okay, and as they should, because it's like, bro, that's that is poor. Like, you're probably right. They probably didn't even know it was poor conditions. So not gonna blame them for that, but I'm just glad the authorities got involved.
Yes,
All right, is there anything else in the news?
AI is reshaping business. This is how we stay ahead of China.
Are we really ahead of China? Let's be honest. Of course we're not.
No,
How we stay
not even close.
ahead of China. Okay.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
That's hilarious.
That's quite a stretch.
Hysterical.
Delusional.
Comical.
Slapsticky. What did I just say back then? slapsticky. Good grief, man.
Golly. Anyway.
Alright, so the article reads, we are in the midst of an artificial intelligence-driven industrial revolution, from self-driving cars to medical diagnostics to next-generation defense and homeland security capabilities. AI is reshaping nearly every industry. Well, we'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see.
As the US races to maintain its global leadership in AI, much of the conversation revolves around natural language processing, the reshoring of the semiconductor supply chain, and powering data centers.
Okay, interesting. Definitely very interesting.
It is, yes.
Yeah, I will say this. I mean, as for AI, first off, what are we really doing? Ahead of China? We're not ahead of China.
No, no country, no matter how big, how big their economy is, and how much money they have for whatever research for AI, China will be ahead in most, at least some metrics in the other technological sector.
That's true. That is true. China is way up there. They're way up there. They're more further than we are.
Yes,
They're just way further than we are.
yes, despite what despite what people would argue about how China is run, well, that doesn't well, they're still building tall, massive cities that, although may not have people in them yet, in a couple of years, when China gets back on track with its population growth, these newly built cities are going to be some of the biggest hubs that we've ever seen. Like, Shanghai was once a city that just felt abandoned and deserted, but now Shanghai is quite the technological hub.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I 100% agree with that. Yeah, I really do. But in other news, what else in the news?
Balkan's snowstorm leaves tens of thousands of homes without power and causes traffic chaos.
Wow,
Lucky
crazy.
bastards.
Why are they lucky?
Well, uh, well, remember what you mentioned that one time in New York it kind of snowed for a bit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but at least you got snow. All I got was heaps of rain.
Hey, it snowed today too, but it
Well, yeah.
snowed for about 3 hours, then it stopped.
Well, I last time I've seen snow was, bug. I can't remember last time it snowed. It was a couple of years ago, but man, it's been quite a while.
Yikes! No, that is terrible.
Yeah, it's awful.
I'm not gonna lie though, it only snowed for 3 hours where I was at, so it's like I can't necessarily say it was satisfying. In fact, I would have liked to look at all that snow while I was inside, but then again, I guess in a way, I have three dogs, so it would have been difficult for one of them to walk in that snow because of how much it there was. But then again, also I live in a neighborhood where they shovel the snow, so I mean, probably wouldn't have been that bad. The only thing I'd have to worry about is her stepping on salt, but that's it. But yeah, no, I like snow. I just don't like stepping in it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, especially if I have to walk my dogs or go to work, which I don't have a job right now, so technically I don't.
True.
Technically, I don't have to go to work.
Fair enough.
But yeah, anyways, it's like for the most part, it just is what it is.
And it was what it was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else in the news, or?
A man who featured in viral video after being hit in groin during Southport riots is jailed.
Wow. After wait, he was part of a riot after being hit in the groin, and then
Yeah, a man who featured in viral video after being hit in groin during Southport riots is jailed.
well, good. Well, good. I mean, you shouldn't even be participating in a riot. That was dumb, stupid, ignorant, preposterous, bamboozling.
Puppycock.
That. Yeah, that. What does that mean? Puppycock.
I have no idea.
You just heard the word and you liked it?
Yeah, it has a ring to it somehow.
I mean, I understand. I say golly. I like saying golly. I don't know, because it's like I had this favorite YouTuber, well, who used to make videos. Well, he still makes videos, just not on his main channel. He said golly a lot, and I just picked it, and I pretty much just picked it up, and like ever since then, it's like I replace most I would say that I use that to replace curse words. Although it's not hard for me to not curse, but at the same time it's like, I say it in a in a serious manner, in a joking mainly in a joking manner, because it's like, who's really going to take the word golly seriously?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said, yeah. Who would take that seriously?
No one. I mean, I say oh my golly, and I say like, good golly gosh, or just like, it's like I say those things in like, a joking manner, obviously, like when I'm just like, talking about something. It's like, oh my golly gosh, it's like, I love the word. I really do. It's like it's my go-to word. And but yeah, it's like, for the most part, it's a pretty good word. You can even I even use it in a serious manner, like I said. I'm like, but obviously I'm probably gonna say other things too if I'm being serious. I'm not gonna say golly. That's just I guess that's just kind of a catchphrase for me to like just say golly.
Yeah.
But let me see something real quick. Hold on. For God did not send his son to the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through. Yeah, other than that, there's really nothing on Twitter that's noteworthy. Anyways, is there anything else in the news? Or is that a
New Syrian leaders declare Christmas a national holiday.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, if Christmas is a I thought it was always a national holiday.
Well, even though Syria has a massive Christian population, Muslim is still the majority religion in the country. So Christmas is not as big of a deal in Syria as it is in other Western nations.
Yeah, I think some people, even some Christians, consider it pagan. But at the same time, I can't necessarily prove. I actually no, I probably could, but at the same time, it's like it's a bit confusing, because it's like you have two sides of the coin saying that it is, and one side saying that it is, and one side saying that it's not. So it gets a bit confusing. But at the end of the day, like, most people say, I just see it as like, a thing that people celebrate on the holidays. I mean, I'd say like, if you wanna, I'd say like, well, because it's called Christmas. I mean, yeah, of course, from a Christian standpoint, yeah, people are gonna use that time to remember Christ, and like, his birth. Although, there are other things. There are other people saying like, he wasn't born on Christmas, and yada yada. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, and like, it's information that I would have to seek out myself, pretty much, because it's like you hear two sides, and you pretty much hear two sides of the story, and it's just very confusing. But yeah, it's like, if you want to use Christmas to celebrate Christ, then you can, and it seems like it's the only way that like, you should be using Christmas for, but other people use Christmas to like, just, celebrate the fact that it's snowing, and, um, yeah, pretty much just the celebration of snow. That's pretty much. So I'd say like, if they want to make Christmas a national holiday, good on them. Good on them, I guess. That's great. I can't really tell anybody what to celebrate and how to celebrate it. Um, I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. But at the end of the day, it's Christmas, and most people celebrate it. People say Xmas. Actually, where did Xmas even come from?
I don't know the origins of it, but when I hear or see Xmas, I feel like the X could be a reference to the cross, perhaps.
Hmm. I don't.
But that's just me.
I don't know, cause like the way you spell Christmas, it has Christ in it. So
But then Xmas is just an X, but it's not shaped in the Christian or cross
no,
that you.
I think it's just regular X miss.
Yeah.
It's like I'll be honest. I really don't know the origins of Xmas. I think, but if I had to take a good guess, it's like I guess people don't want to say Chris miss or use Christ's name in that sense, so they just.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things. I'm not really sure. I really need to do the research on the origins of Xmas. I actually don't. I'll be honest. When I saw Xmas, I thought it was just a rated R thing, where it's like where people would sexualize Christmas and they would call it Xmas, and it's like Merry Xmas, and I thought it was just like something like in order to I thought it was just something sexual or something that people would say in order to sexualize it or something like that. I don't know. I personally thought it was that, but I guess it's not that. It's just simply just taking Christ out of Christmas. So, or Christmas. People say Christmas, not Christmas, but you know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, that's all. That's pretty much all that I got from there. Is there anything else in the news?
Well, that's it.
All right, cool. Peace.